I mean, this is probably not safe for work, is it?
I've lost count of how many times I've said, I'm going to do a budget build, I'm going to do a cheap build, I'm going to do a build that's not going to cost very much money, it's not going to break the bank, and then I get halfway through it and then I start spending all this money on these different parts and it ends up just being like every other build I build. So I needed something that was going to keep me on track. So welcome to part 1 of the cheap bike build off. I got a message about a month ago now from Max, who's also known as the Mullet Mechanic, which I've only just realised that's what it says because it's got a 3 in it, and my little dyslexic brain of mine didn't understand that until I tried reading out loud. Mullet Mechanic, very clever. But he messaged me asking if I wanted to get involved in doing a budget build challenge, and that we'd do some videos, post some stuff on social media, and there'd be a few other people who get involved in it. And I jumped at the challenge. I've been wanting to challenge myself to build a cheap bike this year, and then he messaged me, so it was like perfect timing, so I was like, yes. The people that are getting involved in this is Struna, which I don't know if I'm actually pronouncing that right, but I'm going to link them all here. So Struna, Toasty Rides, Ben Cycles, Schoolyard Projects, and me. Max did give us some rules to kind of go by, and those rules are as such. You couldn't spend more than $150 US, which for me is going to be around about, it's just under £120, but I decided I'd round up to the nearest 10, so we're going for 120. I need to complete the build by the 29th of February. I'm allowed to use my parts bin, but I do need to factor in all the costs for that. If it was a part that I wouldn't sell for cheap, I can't just be like, oh, this is how much it's going to be. I have to be realistic with it and be fair. And the frame itself has to be purchased within the last 3 weeks of starting this build. That's about it. We all started posting and mentioning the fact we were going to do this build, and quite a lot of you guys, especially on Instagram, because we started talking about it there, have said that they wanted to get involved as well. So we have even opened up now to everybody. So if you do want to get part of this, head over to my Instagram account, which is this handle right here. The rules are all in my highlighted stories if you want to go through those again. But essentially, if you want to get involved, use the hashtag build, or it's this one here, cheap bike build off. Got it. So welcome to part 1. I suppose the first job we need to do is go and look at the frame that I'm going to use.
Why? Have you just cleaned your shed? Ah, shed cleaning's boring. I'm going to use this. So the frame that I've got here is it's a Diamondback Traverse. I think it's Traverse. I don't know if it's missing any decal there. I think it's called the Traverse. I picked up from Georgia Cycles for £35. Or was it £30? I think it might have been £30, which included wheels and some handlebars, a stem somewhere, and I think it had a seat post. I hope it had a seat post, because I don't know if I have a seat post that will fit this. Not sure.
So the very first task that we need to do is strip down the very minimal things that are left on it. This crank I'm not going to use. I'm going to use a 1x kind of drivetrain to kind of keep it a little bit more simple and easy to achieve. And then this one will probably just go straight in the parts bin, because it's fine, but as anybody who's subscribed to this channel, which I would suggest you do, by the way, because we've got a lot of builds coming up, and obviously this challenge currently that we're doing, yeah, don't do a lot of free buys, so it'll get used eventually, I imagine. The BB is a kind of unsealed version, or like, you know, kind of an older style. It's got the bearings within the side, so you can clean those up and re-grease them really, really easily. So I do want to try and reuse this. Spoiler alert, I don't use it, but we'll get to that in the end. Unless you can work out what it is, the reason now, if you're smart enough, put it in the comments below. This frame is actually in really good nick. You can see from the threads and the actual internals here, like, it is spotless. There's lots of wear on the outside, but it's a solid frame. It's gonna be a good build. I can't remember the exact temperature on this day, but it was very cold, hence the fact I'm building gloves. But I'm about to do some cleaning now, so I didn't want to ruin my gloves, so I put the rubber gloves, the nitrile gloves, these ones, on over top. But it did make me think, I wonder how warm toasty might be right now in New Zealand.
What's it like commuting in the Northern Hemisphere this time of year, Craig? What's it like?
Moving on. Right then, let's get some cleaning done. The BB, like I mentioned, is pretty sick still. It just needs a real good clean. I'm going to use some of the Ultimate Workshop degreaser from Juice Lubes just to blast some of that really tough stuff off. You can't really tell, but like it kind of froze when I sprayed it onto the pad. That's how cold it was today. Like it was, the compressed liquids were freezing. Next, I do add some JL69. It's a maintenance spray. This is great for like kind of like displacing like water and stuff. So especially after you've cleaned a product, use some of this on it to kind of get rid of any of that liquid, and then you can grease and stuff afterwards. I realise now that's a terrible angle, and you don't actually see a lot of what I'm doing, but believe me, I'm cleaning it. The condensation. You think mustaches are cool? They're not. Not in the winter. All the condensation and just breathing. But good news is the sun's coming out. Coca-Cola are not a sponsor. This poison in a plastic bottle. But when you're this tired, anything helps.
Not only is this going to be a good video for someone who's getting into retro bikes, learning how to save money, what parts are good to save and what you should replace, and it's a kind of a good lesson for myself, because I am terrible at this sort of stuff. I used to when I first started this channel. I definitely was more into it, but then I got really into resto mod, where I would kind of get an old vintage bike and put something crazy cool on it, modern and whatever. That BB, the shell's actually moving on the other side when I turn that towel. Maybe we should just pull it out and give it a bit better clean. But anyway, so yeah, this is going to be a good lesson for me to get back into those good habits of recycling and saving some of those old parts. Yeah, that side does look a bit worse, but give it a good clean. Take it back. Now I've cleaned it, it's absolutely gleaming and spotless. This BB is going to be absolutely purring. Use the small Juice Lubes. This is the multi-purpose grease. Use this pretty much on anything. I've been using this for a long time before they support the channel, and it's very good stuff. So I'm very grateful to be part of their team. Now what I was going to do was actually pull it apart and then wash the frame and then put the BB in, but I got excited, so that's it really. Right, let's get this fork off. Right then, let's do some polishing. I'm going to use some T-Cut, not a channel sponsor, but I use it on every bike. It is essentially a paint restorer designed for cars. There's lots of different ones on the market. This is the one that's big in the UK. To be honest, I think it's big around the world. But it's a nice creamy substance that's got some grit of some sort in it, and we'll bring this back to a nice shiny front. Being careful on the decals, because it will affect the decals. Just basically rub it in. So I'm going to do that on the whole frame. It's going to take me probably an hour, so I'll be back in a bit. And full transparency, I'm not putting T-cut or grease or any of those sort of products into the budget. They do cost quite a bit to get all that stuff in, but you could just do it with a can of like degreaser of some sort. T-cut or polish and stuff like that is very optional, and it's a few quid here and there. But I'm not going to put it in the budget because you either have it already, or it's really cheap. It's not going to take much of the cost of the bike. Let's polish. I mean, this is probably not safe for work, is it? Right, I've been rubbing this bike down for a while now, and the last trick is to use the softest microfiber you can get. This is actually one from Juice Lubes. Super, super soft. And then do the old wax off movement. You can kind of see the reflections of that light. Like that, I wouldn't have done that before I started. So the only problem with doing these shiny bikes on YouTube and stuff, it's very hard to show how shiny it is. But oh my, this is shiny. Sick. I've used this technique to polish so many bikes now, and every time it just blows me away how different it looks once you've just added a little bit of T-cut and some time. It's definitely not one of my best jobs, but she's shiny now. Right, before I put it back in the rack, I need to find a seat post, which I think it came with. Let's go look for that. Here's a word from our sponsor.
So today's sponsor is saveoldbikes.com, my website where I sell my stickers from. If you're looking for the coolest stickers on the internet, then you probably want to go somewhere else. But if you want something kind of perfectly average to support this channel, then the new ones are the cool S stickers. We've got bikes and then just the S. They're available now on the website, including a very limited that I only make this once. They've been selling quite well. It's the Save Old Bikes diner style sign. The Save Old Bikes shields are coming back. I think there's none available at the moment on the website. You'll have to find out for yourself. But they are coming back. But I do want to know what colours you want me to do them in. So if you have any preferences, I've done a few different colours now. Pop a comment down and below. The kind of metallic-y, iridescent one will definitely come back because you guys love that. And maybe a couple of special edition one-offs as well. But yeah, if you want to help out the channel, support what we do here, feel free to go and check out saveoldbikes.com. There's loads of stuff on there. I've got a big change coming with the website soon. I've mentioned this before. I've been working on a lot behind the scenes. You've asked, a lot of the merch that I used to do is gone. I want to bring some of that back, including enamel mugs, because those things you absolutely adored and loved. So there's stuff going on, so bear with me whilst I fix that. And let's finish off this bike. Well, the part we're going to do today at least, anyway.
Could this be? We have seat post. rusty, dirty seat post. Let's sort him out first, shall we? And when I say seat post, it's actually a seat pin, which is slightly annoying because this is proper crusty, and I think I could probably clean it a bit, but but we could definitely clean this up some to at least make it look less rusty. It'll still be scratched and stuff, but hey, that's okay. What do you reckon? 13 or 14? Fuck. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about putting this straight back on. Let's see. Right, well, important thing, we got the seat pin, which has some things living inside. To get some of that rust off and buff it up a little bit, just gonna use a little bit of a Scotch pad. Just using 600 just because it helps what I had. Probably go a little bit less coarse, but I just want to take a little bit off. There you go, see? Lovely. Ideally, I would like to have used something a little bit less coarse, but there you go, see? If you are going to use that technique, again, make sure you go a little bit gentle because it is taking metal off. If you did that for like 10 minutes, probably going to change the diameter ever so slightly, so go easy. Again, I could probably get some of that out and then polish it up more, but like it will then won't fit as nice, so we'll go crusty. We like a bit of crust. I'm going to use the same technique with the Scotch pad actually for these bolts. This is the seat pin or seat post bolt. It's got a little bit of something on it. Not perfect, but that is about 50 times better, which we like. Let's say if I had more time, I'd just evaporate everything. But this just works pretty much as well. And it took me about 3 minutes. Actually, I've just looked at the timer on the video. It took me 1 minute, 9 seconds. Easy peasy. The seat post looks pretty clean, but I just want to give a little bit of a bit of grease. This bolt actually is really, really long. I don't know if it is the correct or it's been replaced at some point. It will do for now, but I might chop that off at some point. Just remembered I haven't touched any of this stuff yet. Before I do that though, I want to put a stem that has a brake hanger built into it. So I don't want to use this, but before I go and like ignore that part, let me just double check that I have that and then find a spacer that will replace this within the headset. 1 minute. Well, I have, however, just found the handlebars I want to put on the bike. Under something else, of course. And I thought the stem was right next to them. Yeah, stemmy, 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 stemmy. Yeah, ow. Yeah, stemmy, 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 stemmy. Ah, it's there. Oh, come on. Dropping stuff all over the place. All right, that's the stem. That's the stem. That's the one. All right, just gonna stick it in the fork, innit? Lovely. Okay, so this also needs a little bit of a spruce, but I kind of like the rust on it. I want to clean it a little bit. I might clean the bolt up a bit. Then the rest of it is going to be sweet. But the hanger's built in here, so that means I can make the stem look a little bit nicer. If you are going to just service a headset, especially an old one like this, and put it all back together again, try and put the bearings in the same place they came from, just because if there is any wear, it's going to be the same wear on both parts. I don't know if that makes an actual difference at all, but in my mind, that makes sense. So that's what I'm going to stick with. I think you should put it back in the same place it came from. So that is the top one. Top. With the top. Top, top, top. Right then. Greasy, greasy. Right. Ah! I actually want to put a bit of grease in there as well. Just a touch. Pinky grease. Should probably get a grease gun. Cool, that feels nice. I think we're on to a winner. So I haven't found a better spacer yet, but in very typical Craig fashion, I did start a side quest and found all the bits that I think I need to put a seat on this bike. I just found this at the bottom of the toolbox in pieces. I don't know why I took it apart completely. Goes on there, that goes on there. That's all the pieces we need. I was literally just about to order one of these because I didn't think I would have one. Side quest complete. Back onto finding spacers. I found it. I found it. It's silver, so not, you know. Oh, you fuck bastard. Oh. Ow. I've just stabbed myself with this pick. But my battery just died, so I don't know how much you saw of that, but essentially I found this silver spacer, which was still slightly too big, but with the black one that is the right size on top, and then this bigger bolt is now nice and tight, and it still feels good. Everything's happy. We're doing well.
Right, I think that's where we're going to leave it for this week. So far, we have only actually spent £30, which I'm pretty chuffed with. The actual frame itself was obviously all good. That came with some other parts, which we'll talk about in the next video, i.e. the wheels. But the things we've used on it so far is the BB and the seat post and the headset, really. The headset, I did change a couple of parts. I think if we're going to be fair with ourselves, we've changed the spacer and the bolt, which is the best part of like £4. So let's say we've spent £34. So add that to the tally. £34 is what we've spent so far in the build. That still leaves us with almost £100 for tyres, seat, handlebars, stem, and then the drivetrain, really, which is not too bad. One of the things I am thinking about at the moment is kind of tyres and kind of what I put on there. I do have a set of Billy Bonkers that I picked up for £15 each. I got them on a really good sale, so that's £30. That's obviously a big chunk of money to take out, so that would take us up to £64. That's before we even get down to the drivetrain. The drivetrain, I actually want to put a modern drivetrain on it, just to kind of show how you can be quite good with buying modern parts, even at, you know, budget parts that might work with this build. We're still working on that bit in a moment. So I think we're doing okay. For my long-time subscribers, you've probably noticed a slightly different format in the way I'm doing these videos as well. A lot of you have been asking me to do more kind of voiceover and talking whilst I'm doing work. Someone even specifically said they wanted to see my face whilst I'm doing the builds. I don't really know what they meant by that and why they wanted me to do that, but I'm starting to show my face a little bit more when I do my builds. For that one person. But let me know what you think. I'm also going to start doing more longer videos like this, not quite the big epic videos that some of these builders do on their YouTube channels, but like, you know, we're probably up to about 25 minutes or half an hour by now. So, you know, yeah, chunkier, more content. So let me know what you're thinking. I'm super excited to keep working on this build. I've done quite a bit on it so far. I'm not going to, no spoilers, you're going to have to wait until next week. I am working on the video as we speak. And yeah, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to see the rest of this build, I do suggest subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get involved in it yourself, tell me a bit about it in the comments below, but also hit me up on Instagram. Make sure you use that tag, the cheap bike build off. There you go, got it again. And if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing on this channel, make sure you subscribe to it. And if you can't wait until next week's video, that one there is a particularly good one.